today. Put in the comments where you're watching from. We'll wait for a second for more people to get on. And then let me know if you can hear me, guys. How's the weather where you're watching from? Fans. So I'm just watching. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. And I'm trying to make sure I can see my comments. Oh, somebody says they can hear. Thank you for letting me know. Awesome. All right, guys. So we are back to talk about halter training. But before we jump into the halter training, I just wanted to touch base a little bit more about the first touch. So when we talked about first touch last time, we talked about pretty much the nose. But I want to make sure you guys know that we're not just focused on the nose for the first touch. We really want to get them comfortable touching them everywhere on their body. Now to do that, I use target training with that long brush. And if you guys have been watching my videos, I'm sure you've seen it. So the long brush, it's just a stick. And on one of my long brushes, I have a toilet bowl cleaner taped on with duct tape. And the other one, the little dustpans that you can get with a little tiny broom, I have one of those also. And then I also put the duct tape onto the handle area so I don't get a sliver. I like for that not to be super heavy because I find myself holding my arm out for very long periods of time. And I want to make sure my arm doesn't get tired. So make sure we're working on touching them everywhere. Now, when you first go to start touching them, you might not touch them. You might just be touching the silhouette of their body because they're going to be afraid, and we want this to be a good experience for them. So don't just go up there and touch them right away. Ease into it some so that they can just have a good experience. I'm using pay. Now, if they're comfortable enough to take like rolled or crimped oats from your hand, I also use sometimes low starch grain, and I just started using Timothy pellets. So not alfalfa pellets, but Timothy pellets. Okay, so get them comfortable with touch everywhere, and typically start by their shoulder for that, and then work your way back. As soon as you see them flinch or lean away, put their head up higher, any of that stuff, they're telling you that they're nervous. Go back to where they're comfortable. When I'm doing this, I'm often using the countdown, that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 deep. And when I'm brushing them, so I'm like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'll do the last one a little bit further. And that can help them be comfortable with the extending where you're touching them or coming to a new area without staying there too long. So work on that every time that you're out there working with them. Play with touch in lots of areas, and don't go straight to like their feet. If they kick, don't worry about it. Just know that you went too far. If they've kicked, it's not their fault. They're wild, they're nervous, and we just need to get to where they're comfortable again. Now, when we start introducing the halter, we're gonna keep using that target training. So let's imagine that my cord for my phone is the halter. So we're gonna start off with nose, then we're gonna go to neck. After that, we're gonna start going up above. We want them to get used to all this movement around them. So depending on your donkey, you might go fast or slow. It just depends on their comfort level, okay? So nose, neck, and then start going up, and then eventually come around with your opposite hand, grab it and bring it back around, right? Now, when we're doing this, we don't want them to get so nervous that they gotta leave. So we're watching for all of those signs while we're working with that. If they're getting so nervous that they feel like they need to leave, then just back up one step. So if you were at neck, back up to nose. If you were here, back up to their neck. And then if you're getting it over top of their neck, then just back up to their neck, right? And then you're gonna start grabbing it. You're on one, just their left side, right? And then eventually you're gonna have this, the halter, and you wanna pretend like you're going to tie it, but we're not tying it yet. We want to make sure that they're so comfortable with all these movements that the first time we go to tie it, they're not gonna be so afraid they feel like they're gonna need to leave. And we've had that happen here, right? We've had it happen where we think that they're okay, go ahead and you start tying it, and then now they start pulling away and there's resistance. We're trying to avoid any resistance when we're doing this, so we're trying to ease them into it. If they're backing up and they're moving, I'm gonna ignore that. I'm gonna walk with them. I'll try to match steps with them as much as I can, because matching steps, it's what they do naturally. If you watch two animals walking side by side, they will, even people will do this. They'll naturally match their steps. So that's just helping show awareness. And I've used it on some really nervous animals and it does help a lot. So with the halter, break everything down into super small steps and you're watching for all of their tiny, and I really mean tiny, signs that they're feeling nervous. Because if we can back up while they're thinking that they might be nervous, then we can keep building that trust. But if we keep coming at them and pushing while they're nervous, then we're teaching them that there's a reason for them to be nervous. So if I'm sitting straight up right now and I lean like this, that's a sign. And it doesn't mean you have to stop what you're doing, but you need to be aware of how they're feeling so that we don't push and ask for too much. I'm gonna glance at my notes, guys. So last time when I was doing this, I had just come back from the dentist, so my mouth was numb still. It was a little bit hard to talk, so I was trying to keep it simple. With the long brush, and when you're doing that, safety is so important. So the long brush is giving you a distance so that you're not in a kicking range. So we always want to stay out of the kicking range. Often I need to back up alongside them. So if I was the donkey, then the person would come and back up alongside. So you might walk a little ways and then back up. Think of your movements more like a ballerina. We're not trying to sneak up on them. And we just need to do a little at a time. It can be one step. Then you could take your legs and just open them up and then come, open them up and then come. And that way you're just easing your way closer to the donkey that you're working with. Make sure they always have a way out. Now, if your donkey is like facing the corner of the pen, send them to get them where they're not facing the corner and then start working with them or wait for them to come out and be curious enough. Once they start coming to you, whether it's leaning or taking a step, you're creating curiosity, which is the biggest part of gentling wild donkeys or mustangs or a nervous domestic. Okay, so safe distance, I'm looking at my notes again. Safe distance, they always have a way out. So let's talk more about signs of tension. If their ears are focused all in one spot and they won't ever turn their ears to listen to what's going around or watch what's going around, that's a sign of nervousness. Think about like if you're watching a horror movie, your eyes are gonna be like on the TV and you can't blink while you're like, oh my gosh, something is gonna happen. That's also another sign of nervousness. Now, when they start to blink, that's a sign of relaxation. So a blink every once in a while is that they're starting to relax, but sometimes they'll do like rapid blinking, and that is a big sign that they're starting to come down. Unlike my first go live where I was blinking constantly, I couldn't believe it. I was so nervous, you guys. Now, when I'm watching for signs of nervousness, they start to get wrinkles right here before they get a parrot lip. So the parrot lip is just like a beak. The top sticks out further than the bottom, and that's a big sign of nervousness. That doesn't mean we need to stop what we're doing, but we need to be aware of it so we don't ask for too much. If we always quit while they're feeling nervous or we don't stay with them while they're feeling nervous, then they're going to associate us with nerves. Cooper. We have an old dog, Cooper, and he drinks so much that then he'll go throw up. The old dog thing. I think all of our old dogs have done that. All right, so let's see here. If their tail is like clamped to them or even between their legs a little bit, if they are stomping their feet, that leaning, like right now I'm leaning, right? Or I could be leaning into somebody. All of that is a big sign of how they're feeling. If they get the runs, that's a sign of nervousness. Now, the target, whenever I'm doing the target training to get them used to the halter, you know, I would say no as they come and touch it. Typically, they'll just smell it because they're curious, and then I pay them every time. Now, the amount of pay that I use in my hand, it varies depending on which animal I'm with. If I'm with one that's really pretty comfortable, or I would call it scap, where they're not nervous, they're not leaning away with what I'm doing, then I might give them a small amount. But if they're nervous and I feel like they need to have more pay to stay interested, then I'm going to give them a big old handful. Typically what I use when I'm gentling is about 3 cups a day. I have my water cups that I use are just plastic water cups, but they hold 3 cups of content. So that's what I normally use. Sometimes I'll use 6 cups in a day, but that's more rare. I try to stick to 3. Now keep putting in the comments, guys. I've been having trouble seeing the comments after. So if there's questions, the daily post that I put out there might be a really good spot to put the questions. And I'm going to keep trying to see this stuff as I keep learning how to go live. Now, when you are first haltering, you could spend 15 minutes a day just working on the haltering. But before you start with the haltering part, we want to review what they already know. So whatever it is, no matter how small it is, we're working on creating yes donkeys that feel comfortable around us. So always start with what they already know and then keep building off from that. That way we're creating that confidence with them and that they can feel good around us. You absolutely want to be confident that they're going to be allowing you to tie on that halter before you are. And when it goes wrong, because it does go wrong sometimes, don't sweat it. Just be like, okay, I'm going to try to do better next time. Remember, when they get upset, it's because we went too fast. Now, every animal is different, so it could take anywhere from days to weeks to get this done. No comments. Helpful advice. I'm working with a 12-year-old capsule BLM at 3, nervous around humans. Let's see if I can... I can't see the rest of it. Awesome, though. A 3-year-old. That's exciting. And they're nervous around humans. You know, right now, squirrel, I was down at the barn, of course. I'm down at the barn every day, guys. I was down there yesterday and today, and yesterday we brought home a new jack. It's not ours. We're babysitting it for somebody else. So he's with our other jack. So they were here. We're setting up fence, and this other jack is out there. And then we put a different mule in the wild pen because we were working with her feet. And guess what? All the wilds in there were like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. And I just see that and I recognize it. Even one of them had diarrhea. And then because we had this other mule in there, the mule is a year old, so it's just a baby. She's in some of my videos. Nobody else would eat because they were afraid of the mule. But Seamus, she's in there. He is in there because he likes to hang out with them. He just likes the extra attention. And of course, he doesn't care. Like, those two became friends really quick because he is Scap. Soft, centered, accurate, and punctual. He's not nervous about things because he's been there and done that. So when your donkeys are nervous or you feel like it's taking forever, just keep working on it every day. Be consistent. Consistency is key. When I'm working with the wild, I am working with them with pretty small exception every single day. And then as they get further along in their training, it's still pretty close to every day, but I try not to have it go less than 3 days in a row. 3 days in a row, there's something magical about that. So keep that in mind. If you have a week that's too busy, we got the holidays coming up and everything, try to at least get out there 3 days in a row. And some days it's so windy. Where are you guys watching from? I'm in Montana and we get high winds. So we had winds that were like 30, 40 miles an hour. And guess what? That is not a good time to be going down there and asking them to be all scap with their feet when they're nervous about it, or going into the trailer for the first time when it's scary to them. So then do something that they can say yes to. We might have our own agenda, but we need to meet them where they're at. And sometimes where they're at, windy, yes. Sometimes where they're at is just totally based on the weather. It's too cold and they get crabby because it's cold, or it's really windy so they're scared, or maybe they smell a mountain lion that's not that far away. So meeting them where they're at is super, super important. And sometimes we have to change our agenda because of that. All right, so I want to try to kind of wrap this up because I've been going already for over 15 minutes. Now, tomorrow, oh wait, my hat. You guys see this? My hat. So that's some of our Training Wild Burros merchandise. And if you guys love Wild Burros as much as I do, grab yourself one of these Training Wild Burros hats. They come with a pre-approval from at least 3 stubborn donkeys, guys. Okay. Tomorrow we're going to talk more about target training basics. And tomorrow is Thursday, so I have a book club, but it's only once a month. So I'm going to do a short call tomorrow. I'll probably stick to about 5 minutes, and I'm probably going to be in my vehicle when we do it, but we're going to make it happen because I'm just going to be consistent with my 50-day in a row Go Live challenge. Now, if you guys have questions, make sure you put them in there. I usually sit in the barnyard. He will come over and sniff my hat. That is so awesome, and it's such a good thing to do. It really helps build up that confidence. And when I'm sitting in there with them, I'm always asking a question, like, will you smell my hat for 3 seconds? Will you stay next to me for 5 seconds? How fast do you come back to me when you get nervous? You know, when they come up, they'll smell you, and then they'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared, and they run. Well, do they have to go away for 30 seconds, or do they come back in 3 seconds? That's a sign of them becoming more comfortable and confident with you and more curiosity. We love curiosity. All right, guys, thanks so much for chiming in and watching and the comments. I so appreciate it. And I look forward to talking with you guys again tomorrow. Have an amazing day. Goes back.